All right, Peter, I would want to talk about Tommy DeVito, even if you didn't manage to get his agent as a guest on your podcast this week. I mean, it seems like we've had several of these like mini stories of the month, if you will. Like it was Tyson Bagent for a minute there, but
Yeah.
this does feel like a different level though. Like to be on a 3 game winning streak in that market, the Italian thing. I mean, did you see the Giants announced him as NFC Player of the Week with a Sopranos reference this morning? Like
Absolutely.
it's all too good, man. What do you make of it?
Woke up this morning. That's how they had it. And won myself an NFC player of the week. We're recording this, you and me, on a Wednesday. This was on the cover of the New York Post. It said "Good fella," and on the back of the New York Post said, like, I think it was like "Hasta la vista," something like, I don't even know the pun, but I don't remember, maybe since Eli won a Super Bowl, that the Giants were on the front and back page of the New York Post. And that's with Biden, and that's with whatever else we've got going on in the world. Like it's in that big of a sensation. I'm wearing a shirt right now, New York or nowhere. Between Zach Wilson being the AFC Player of the Week and Tommy DeVito being the NFC Player of the Week. Meanwhile, both these teams are 5-8, like going nowhere. Like, let's be honest. Like, the Giants can dream a dream, but it's probably not happening. But it's been a really cool sensation. And ask me whatever you want on DeVito. I've got all the 411 on that guy. I have done as many deep dives as you can imagine, and this goes back to even when he made the team back in August.
Okay, let's first of all, I want to talk about the guy that you had on your show. That would be
Yeah,
his agent, Sean Stellato. We can talk about DeVito too, but this guy, he took Twitter by storm on Monday night with the outfit that he was wearing for the Giants win against Green Bay. I'll start with this. First, I mean, I want to know a little bit more about the guy, but you are an appreciator of the arts. You are a fan of movies. Have you seen The Bear?
yeah, love the Bear.
When they make this movie with Mark Wahlberg inevitably playing Tommy DeVito, like I see Jeremy Allen White playing the role of Sean Stellato. Like
I love that.
that's all
What
I
a
can think about.
compliment. What a compliment. You've got Carm, the actor who plays Carm playing it. That's great. I don't know. Do you get I think his name is Eben Moss Bacharach, who plays cousin Richie. Do you get him to play one of maybe
Yeah,
the Daniel Jones role if you want?
bring everybody along for sure.
That's it. All right, Sean Stellato. I've known him over a decade. I've been, working as an NFL insider. All the agents, and a lot of the agents represent, first overall draft picks, and have to, they send out press releases from the agency that we represented 12 draft picks this year. And you can name them, whether it's Todd France, who does Dak, to the Joel Siegel types, to Drew Rosenhaus, to Nicole Lynn, to David Mugoleta, to all these guys and gals now. It is a top heavy industry. And then you've got this other group of agents who, in many cases, have one or two clients in the NFL, or have one draft prospect throughout the entire draft process will be hitting me up and saying, "Hey, I know he wasn't invited to the combine, and I know he wasn't invited to the Senior Bowl, and I know he wasn't invited to any pro days, but would you mind doing a little research on my guy? Because I think he might be a 7th round pick, and it would go a long way for not only the family, but for me to at least mention this guy's name and maybe put him on the radar." And a lot of times I appreciate I've got to stay with what's actually going to happen in the league and who's going to get picked. Sean Stellato has represented back of the roster guys for the last decade. And a lot of these guys are undrafted, or in his case, he lives up in Boston. So what it is if a guy's with the Patriots and he's an end of the roster guy in the Patriots, either he's got another agent or he doesn't have an agent, you'd often find him having a bunch of those guys on the Patriots, and they would end up, making big plays in big games. And then sure enough, I'd get a text from Sean Stellato saying, "Hey, did you see my guy X or my guy Y?" And I always appreciated him because he would come to the Senior Bowl every year in Mobile, Alabama, and he's dressed like you saw him on Monday night. He is dressed to the nines
Amazing.
in Mobile, Alabama, like my cousin Vinny, like completely dressed to the nines in a custom tailored suit and an incredible fedora. And you're like, this guy's a character. And you speak with him. His story's actually interesting. Yes, he was in the memes, and yes, Peyton and Eli were like, "Get this, Johnny Fontaine off the camera," whatever it is. He played at Marist, played 2 years in Arena League, played professional football in the Arena League, like a legitimate player. and then pivoted from being an arena league player to being a player agent and has built this company up. And it's 10 years he's been an agent. I think 18 years he's been an agent, 10 years he's had this company. And they've had Super Bowl winners and they've had clients in the past. And then the stars align and he links up with this other Italian American, this guy, Tommy DeVito, who played at Syracuse and in Illinois and might have been a day 3 prospect, and decides he's going to devote all his energy into Tommy DeVito. Now, what's interesting about DeVito is I don't know if another agent would have played it this way, but DeVito got offers from multiple teams, but the Commanders and the Giants were the 2 final teams. And, you know, a lot of times with these undrafted guys, it's a scramble, just take the most money or just go to it. And because DeVito was, you know, Stellato's main attraction in this thing, he treated it like it was a free agent signing that you would have for a guy looking for a big second contract in the league, and was like, let's weigh out the pros and the cons. Let's not just sign somewhere and go to camp. And it was Washington or the Giants. And he looked at the landscape and he said, hometown team, Brian Dable, who has a history of working with Tua at Alabama, Jalen Hurts at Alabama, Tom Brady with the Patriots, and of course, Josh Allen, and then Daniel Jones last year. Let's get the best coaching we possibly can get and hands-on experience from a guy who's going to work with you hands-on. And also the hometown deal where he played high school football 10 miles away from the stadium and grew up 10 miles from the stadium, where they looked at this as like a very measured decision. So they signed with the Giants. One thing happens, they make the squad. I say DeVito makes the squad. Daniel Jones goes down, Tyrod goes down. Suddenly he's inserted the thing. And not only has it been a sensation on the field, but they have maximized and squeezed every last penny off the field. And Stellato does it all. So there's been a lot of disdain for him and that an agent shouldn't be in the spotlight. Why are you talking about the agent before the player? I think it's a cool story. The stars aligned. And like, if ever there was a player in a family that was meant to be with Sean Stellato, it was Tommy DeVito. I just hope he stays with him now that he's a big star in New York.
That is part of the challenge. I mean, I hope so too, because it's a great story. But you see these guys when they reach that level, they often are like, all right, let's go get one of these firms, these big ones that handle all of the clients. So, I mean, it's a better story. And you said they. I think that's totally fair. Like when you identify a guy that's worth riding with, and you have this happen, it's obviously about Tommy DeVito. But I mean that can put you on the map. I think that's a huge deal.